G'day folks, Glenn Torrens, Unique Cars magazine. In the last few years there's been a fair bit of interest in getting classic Aussie cars off farms and out of sheds and putting them back on the street. And that's what we're going to be doing with this. It's a 1973 Leyland P76 V8 that's recently been bought out of a collection in Alice Springs by a mate of mine, Bruce Garland. Now any car that's been sitting around for a long time, in this case since 1982, is going to need a fair bit of work to get it back on the street. So what we're going to be doing today is showing you what needs to be done and how to do it to get a car such as this back driving again. Bruce's ambition with this car is to simply give it a really good detail, a buff and a shine, clean the interior and get it back on the streets. It's actually a lovely time warp from the early 1970s. It was taken off the road in the early 1980s, so it's only been on the road for 10 years and it's been in storage ever since. But obviously 30 odd years in storage since then has taken its toll, but we're going to fix all that. One of the first things you'll have to change on an old car that you've pulled out of a shed or off a farm is the tyres. Tyres usually have a life of 6 to 8 years. Even though they've got tread on them, they are actually getting to the point where they're quite dangerous on road. This is more than likely the original spare for this car. It's an Olympic reflex radial. So with this car being manufactured in 1973, this is a little piece of history that really shouldn't see the road again. So what Bruce is doing is replacing them with 4 brand new radials, 14 inch, on this set of lovely patina, era correct, 5-hole ROH kidney mags. Yeah, no worries. You don't need spacers.
I wonder why they had the washers on there.
Oh, somebody's made a mistake. What we're talking about is the fact that these tyres are a little bit bigger than standard. These P76s have a strut front suspension in them, they're a coil spring unit. Sometimes with wide tyres and the wrong offset wheels, you can have contact between the inside edge of the tyre and the spring seat and the strut, which is kind of bad. But yeah, all good. No, it doesn't.
Metal grinding out.
No, we're good. These can actually cause the wheel nuts to come undone, come loose. If you don't know they're there, and these are fretting a little bit and wearing, it means that the wheel nut can actually come loose. And that is obviously a bit of a problem. Tyres on an older car obviously a concern because they do perish after a while. Suspension can perish and seize up. Brakes especially can seize up, so brakes need some attention before a car is put back on the street.
But what we'll do is we'll just see if the caliper's seized. Do a little test. So what we do is just set that up in there. I'm checking to see if the slide with the G clamp, and if I can't get that to move, the piston's seized inside. But we're gonna, once we get on the hoist, we're gonna change the fluid and everything on it. So yeah, that's just sticking now because there's a little bit of surface. But if you go around GT and just pump the brake pedal, and I'm gonna watch the brake line to see if I've got any bit mushy. Yeah, we'll probably have a wheel cylinder leaking in the back, but we'll get to that later. So off?
Yep.
Is that off?
Yes, that's off.
Well, it's not a good sign. She's a little bit sticky on the rut. We'll have to watch him. Yeah, she needs a good drive and then see how they go. But at the moment, we don't need to. They're not fully seized. You know, they're moving, but there's a bit of rust on the thing, so we'll just see what it's like when we drive it. The hose looks all right. There's no cracks in it. It's not. Sometimes you get them and they blow up because they deform inside. But we'll do another check when we change the brake fluid and bleed all the brakes and stuff. But that caliper's all right for now, anyway. Oh, like new.
Awesome.
Okay, so what we want to do here now, see if the cylinders have been leaking. We pull that little off there. Oh, dry as a pommy's towel. Look at that. Beautiful. They're like new. Not much corrosion, no corrosion in there either. Now the next job is GT, you're going to just push it through on the brake slowly, and I'm going to hold him here. We're going to see if they come out.
Tell me when.
Gently. Front one's moving. Off, perfect. See that? They're both moving, they're going back. We might not have to do the brakes.
This car was bought without keys, unfortunately, which is why the dashboard's been pulled apart. We've actually had to pull part of the steering column out to get a key match to it. Oil, filters, coolant, spark plugs, ignition and carburetor are all going to need checking and probably recommissioning before this runs again. This car's got a 4-speed manual gearbox in it. The lubricant in that is going to have to be changed, as is the lube in the diff, and of course all the brake fluid. Pretty much everything else on the car is cosmetic, and Bruce is going to keep it with its lovely original patina. This car will be buffed and polished, and yeah, it's going to look sensational, and it's already been nicknamed Bluey. The P76 is not the only toy that Bruce has got. How much shit have you got, Bruce?
Not enough.
Not enough. Well, right answer.
Okay, let's push this so we can... Oh.
Got a tie rod. Yep, there we go, I can see it. Well, what we've discovered is we have discovered a reason for those washers being on the hub earlier. Yeah, one of the suspension components, the outer tie rod end's actually fouling on the back of the rim, and we could hear that as we were trying to push the car, and it was actually quite difficult to push. So for now, we've put a spacer on it, get the wheel out so we can push it into the shed.
I was blaming you for not pushing hard enough.
Ta-da! We've got the P76 into the shed, so yeah, now the real work begins.
First thing I do, we're going to pull the spark plugs.
And the reason Bruce has taken the spark plugs out is to put diesel in the bores. After 35 years or so, there's probably no lubricant in there. We don't know the condition of the bores, they're probably rusty. Diesel will help free things up.
We're just hoping that it's got a little bit of surface rust on it.
That doesn't look too bad.
No, it's a bit of an odd one. It's got a different spark plug in number 1 for some reason. So we might have to shout her a new set.
Even with a car that's been in a shed for 10, 20, 30 years, there is the possibility of the bores being rusty.
Maybe. Look, it doesn't look like it because the plugs look good.
Well, coming
they could have a little bit, it's just sticky, you know, all the carbon you know, around the piston sort of gums up. So what we're going to do is just pull that off. Look at that down there, it's clean as a whistle. So we might just give it a little bit down here for just come down into the valves.
Alright, plugs are out, and Bruce has introduced a bit of diesel into each of the cylinders. The next step is to actually put a socket on the nose of the crank. He's actually going to try and gently rock the engine free. We don't know, it might be free as a bird, but after the amount of time it's been in a shed, probably not.
It's free.
Nice.
It is moving, so there's no tight spots.
But there may be corrosion in the head that's going to stop a piston, yeah. So
that's why we want to turn it very slowly.
Yeah, you sneak up on it. Well, it's not lock solid.
It feels pretty good actually.
There's no no sort of harsh bits or grating.
No.
Awesome.
But I'd like to let that sit before we go cranking it over.
We'll leave this for a week or two, and then we'll come back and have another crack at things.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll get it Next time we'll get her right up in the hoist, change the oils, change the brake fluids, make sure the brakes work.
Gearbox, diff.
Gearbox, diff,
Yeah.
and then I'll polish it. The last job is
give it a bit of love.
Love it, because we're going to make it dirty before then, and then we'll get historic Red Joe.
And go cruising.
Go cruising, yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah, perfect.